Hey guys, today we're going to take a look at the new SD puzzle, TOOLBOX SD, created by Mark Van Eltren. And the short story of this is the closest thing to a Juno SD I think I've ever come across in metal. And it's also probably the best conversation piece puzzle made of metal that I've had yet. And we'll get into it. So let's check it out.
Wow.
Mark Van Eltren is the owner of MVEKNIVES, and you can find that on Facebook and Instagram. And he makes custom kitchen, outdoor, and folding knives from Slovenia. I might actually try to see if he can make me a Long Kiss Goodnight knife or a Frost Sky Warrior. I'll try to put those above. But back to the subject at hand, he built a sequential discovery puzzle here called TOOLBOX SD that even amongst other ones that I'll show you here in a moment, many consider this to be like more SD. There's a lot of debate on what makes things SD. I have a pretty broad definition myself. I just come to that over time. But what is this? I mean, because look at this thing, right? I've talked about like the wishing well amongst the community. Wishing well and turn from being like perplexed puzzles. Highly engineered mechanical metal puzzles that make you feel kind of like an engineer trying to figure them out. But there's a lot of repetition, maybe. I don't want to really spill a lot there. But I've said that they're like working on an alien apparatus or maybe like a high-end sports car transmission. What is this? See, that's the point we keep coming back to. I think that out of all the metal SD puzzles I've owned, this one right here is the one that's going to take a non-puzzler and just blow their mind. Not the solve, just seeing this laying around your house. This is going to start conversations. What is it? Was this from the set of Avengers? Did they put an infinity stone in the center of this for a scene and then just cut it and it fell off the back of a prop truck? What is it? Why is it numbered 5, but it has like no name or anything on it here? It's just a metal brick. It's heavy too. It's like 5 pounds. Let's take a look. I've been wanting to weigh it anyways, so let's see what we got here. I know it's like 5 pounds to ship. 4 pounds, 10 ounces, 0.1. So I don't know what that is in kilograms. I'd imagine it's like 1.78 kilograms, but it's heavy. You could definitely do damage with something with these sharp corners, but fortunately the way it plays out, like I said, it's like a metal Juno. So, very fun. And I'm going to show you, there's been another video on this, and I believe I think the creator is a really great creator, but I believe that video may have done a disservice to this puzzle. So I'm going to try to set the record straight, show you that this is not just a simple, easy puzzle, but you will see it solved. So I'm telling you that part now, so that if you were on the fence about it, go get it, for real. Like, wait for it, it's worth it. People are saying, maybe half the price, but look, this thing's huge. I have massive hands, guys. This thing is pretty big. As a matter of fact, let's bring in some other puzzles, because I want to make a point here. Here we have Bandit, which is very popular this year. People are saying SD of the year kind of until this one came around, which is the Whale SD. And here's Kogas. Okay, these are all metal SDs. This one's wood and metal, and it's highly themed, right? This one, the solve of it kind of plays out like, the theme of it is kind of like a slot machine. The rules on this one, as I'm not going to spoil anything of another puzzle, is to like fix the slot machine and get things out of it, like your ID card, and win a prize, right? When someone sees this in your house, though, especially someone like me living in Vegas, this is kitsch. It's cute. You got like a little slot machine bank or something, like from Spencer's is what they'll think. And it won't be until you look on the side here and see this MW puzzle logo, or kind of look at the back of it, that you might be like, oh wait, that's a little more than just maybe. And then when you show them this is a puzzle that's themed and has some really cool steps to it, I haven't completely solved this one myself, so I can't get into it. they're going to be like, oh, okay, that's pretty awesome. Unique, fun. All right. Now we have something like this. And this is, well, it's called Abraham's Whale. I got number 73. And it's a locked box. Like you see a hinge here, you see a lid, you see a lock on it. This thing is super deep, and there's been a thing recently where people are trying to make as much SD in a small spot as possible, and this is definitely in there with it. This one's highly technical though, and thought out and very layered, so it might be hard to get your hands on this one. There was a scare at the beginning about bricking issues. Another person that just kind of came into the field and just out of nowhere started making puzzles, such as Mark here with this one. This is his first puzzle. He makes knives. I'd never heard of him before. Like, I'd never heard of him in the community or anything like that. This is Kogos, and even though this is like a metal tube and it's got this weird thing on top and the lid, it still looks like a cylinder, a container, a pill bottle. And the designer of this even said he wanted it to look like a pill bottle. So that brings me back to this. Why is that all important? Because I think having part of our hobby, one of the joys of it is to have these like arcane things in your home that once you've solved them and had your fun with them, yeah, they're great to look at. They're art. You can come back to them and resolve them, maybe find more efficient ways or ways to like skip parts, things like that. You know, as puzzlers, we like to hack and crack things. And this, I think, would draw far more attention than, let's say, a contoured metal box with a Lego character in it and it says Jewel Thief on it, even though that's a very intense and really involved puzzle and quite nice looking. Same thing with like a pachinko or angel box, but you'll see a pachinko and think, well, that's part of the front of maybe a pinball machine, and you wouldn't be half wrong, you know. And then it says pachinko on the side, and a lot of people nowadays know what that actually is. So all of those lend themselves, even the angel box with angel and a Cupid doll in it. That's more kind of arcane because you're like, what the hell is a person got this little Cupid doll in the corner in this industrial looking box? This doesn't have any of those. It really doesn't. If anything, the one thing it has is this grip knob, which also implies an easy step here, but they're not thinking puzzle yet, but they're thinking this has some kind of functional use. Does it, do you have machines attached to it that press coal into diamonds? I mean, you see what I'm getting at here? It has a lot of opportunities. So let's get into the solve though. And like I just mentioned, that's probably the first thing you'll go to. You see brass, you see these rods have different back ends, but they're not moving. This, I mean, you can't really turn with your finger. And this one here, I can't turn either. And that's also because I make sure I tighten this really well. There's something in there. I tighten it really well because you just don't want anybody to be able to cheat anything. And it's built to be able to be tightened well. That like spot between super tight and just getting tight where you get that little bit of that area, that's where you want to be. So this might be a little bit tighter than I want it to be. There we go. And that unscrews. That's your first step. And that might seem easy, but in a lot of like these SDs, the first step usually is just an opening to get things to happen. Could this part have been more puzzly? Maybe, but first steps are actually pretty hard to do. What this one does is it just dumps you a bunch of work here. And what we have is a lot of stuff all of a sudden. And I love stuff, but I'm going to make a hot take right here. It's not in the instructions, and it would be awesome if this gets changed for future people getting it. But what I think would make this puzzle a lot harder is if you took away one each of these, the small one and the long one, and keep them as extras in case you lose a piece. I honestly want to believe that these were extras he included in case you lost this piece or one of these. Because once you take these out of the equation, this puzzle becomes a lot more crafty to solve, and it's not like dramatically more difficult or anything. And I'll explain why I think the idea was behind some of this and how you can kind of hack or circumvent that to make this more difficult. So if you've already watched a video and you were like, I thought it was kind of easy, and you get to this part right here and you were on the fence, stop watching. Go get one, for real. Because I'm going to show you some cool ways to make better, maybe, tools that you can use using physics. So we have this part open, and that's what comes out of it. You have this. Now you got this thing. I mean, this isn't going to do anything there. These don't push in. These don't have any type of Allen wrench ends on them. We do have holes here. You'll notice though that the graphite won't go in that hole. It'll go in this one. So that's good to know. But I mean, it's not like we're gonna like inch that out or something that way. And I would drop a small pin in a hole like this. That's just silly. So if we turn around, we'll see this. Now this can obviously be done. Now you might think, well, yeah, just put the two big ones. Well, really, I don't think this was ever intended to have two big ones. Turn it. This is very flat and inset. So it will take a bit of torque to open. And you want to be low, stout for things like that. And that's why I believe he may have included two of these. But I think it's overkill. So what I'm going to do is put in a small one. I'm going to put in a long one, just like this. And then I'm going to use this long bar as a tool to crack it open and get that pressure. Now we haven't bent this long bar, because if I had tried to turn it through with the long bar like that, there's a possibility that we could have bent these and made them kind of pointless, harder to use. So by using the short one here, we keep it low, we use the bar to crank. And now you can just easily unscrew this with these two. And as you can see, it's kind of coming out there. And we have a piece here. And that side that we saw here through the hole, which looked interesting, is actually a tool. So now that's empty. And you'll notice inside now, that piece moves. It also has a hole in the front of it, so we'll save that information for later. It also looks like you can't really stick anything through it when it's back. This was holding it out. Now this is interesting because we've got a square thing here, we've got holes, we got the regular sized hole here, the small one, so most likely for this part, and then we got like a screw on bit here. Doesn't seem to come off, and it's got a hole in it. So a lot to think about here. But one of the first things you would notice is right next to it that this square fits here, right? And then all you have to do is stick a bar, and I'd go through the top here for this one, like this. And like I said, I always tighten them good so you can't cheat. It's all so well machined though that it doesn't matter. Like, you want it to be tight. So we have this, and that was one of them. So we have two of them out of the way essentially, but we still have this plexiglass. This piece here, there's nothing to grab it with. Now people have stuck their finger in here and tried to do. Now what would make you think that's why that was designed that way? Like, my fingers are huge first off, so I can't even get my index tip in there. That should be a sign right away that you're not trying to, like, that's just silly. So think it through. There's a hole on the other side of this one, so obviously something goes through here. Now I feel like if I try going through here and pushing, what's that going to do for me? Like, do I build a long nest of these? Are they magnetic? No. So there's got to be more to it. And that brings me around. Can't do anything with this, but there is a hole here, and this does screw in like this. And you'll want to, now if you have to turn it now, like to pull and mess with it, turn to the right, because otherwise you're just unscrewing. And this one has a hole above, so maybe you have to, but it doesn't fit. So let's pull it out, and you'll see right here there's a hole right at the edge of the box. So it's obvious here that that's meant to be like that to hold that out of the way. But then what's this hole for? Like, what's that about? So let's release. We feel like we've gotten all the tools out. Well, we can probably keep this screwed in, but let's shake it. Right. Or is the one that's moving? Okay. Oops. Let's go ahead and unscrew this and stop the other one from moving. I don't really know how these are being held. Like, I don't know if that's magnets or springs. Listen. There's something in there. So, considering this is probably a blocker, something probably comes out of this hole. And that's why this thing screws in and you can turn it like this. So let's go ahead and put a piece in here to kind of give us, you know, good grip. There's a hole there, but if you look and turn, you'll see there's another hole inside. I won't be able to put it on camera, but if you hold it upside down, see how it only wants to come out so far now? That means there's some kind of seam there. So let's bring it down, pull it out a little bit further, and now it's out of that seam. It's like a trap. And we're just going to kind of like slowly wiggle in and out until something locks. And right now it's locking. And look, this just fell out of that hole. Now this is a tiny piece. And once you take this piece out here, let's go ahead and pull it back out and put a pin in it. I'm going to put a small pin here because we don't need a big pin. We just need something blocking the path. We got to unscrew our tool. So there we go, a little pin in there. And now we have one left. And we have this new tool. Now, it's not hard to figure out quickly that this piece fits really well right here on this and screws right in. Now we've extended the length of our tool, and that means if we go through the spot with the hole now, see that? We can push this out. And now we've got a hole here to put a pin in. But look, it's not, like if you put it there, it's going to be blocking that brass still. So there's definitely more to figure out here. So let's take a big pin that fits through that hole, right? And obviously there must be a way to lock it here. You see what I mean? With it sticking out further, which then is kind of gives me an idea for this. So while I hold this in place, I'm going to try to turn this and kind of go in and out. Be a little bit knacky. I'm using my thumb to kind of like control the pressure here. Also, always turn clockwise. We want this all the way out. We can come in just a little bit. So it's got to be right around in here. But see, this thing here can't really push this all the way. So I think what we'll need to do is actually pull from this end, right? And bring it out farther than what this can do. Now we're pulled all the way out further than that tool was able to push the pin. So that's another thing to figure out. And now we just got to find the hole And how you do that with most of this is kind of wiggling in and out as you turn the piece around. Eventually, you should find some joy . Oh, I just passed it. I felt it. And it's so precise that you do have to like really feel around in there for it. One other thing I tried that makes this a lot easier is by using a small piece. So let's try that, because it's smaller, so therefore it finds the hole a lot easier. We do want to use this large piece to get better grip. There we go. So now that that's in there, right, we hold this still, pull this out, put this piece in. There we go. It's holding it out of the way. But also, why do we have a hole here now? Right here. Because you lock the body, and every other piece has been used for something beyond just moving it out of the way. So why wouldn't this be any different? So you lock the body and you crack the seal, you unscrew this, and look, there we get our Allen wrench bit right there. So we're in the home stretch. At this point, we're going to put this right here into this tool, and then we use the small pin. Make sure I lined it up good. Uh-oh, people want my attention. Oh no, that's the sunlight warning. All right, let me get that in there. This actually isn't hard to do. I'm just trying to do it on camera and I can't see inside very well. There we go. Take this bit off. And what we have now is a little Allen wrench deal. Now this guy here is going to be in the way. So all you really got to do though on this is crack the seal. Like that. Just put it on the bolt and just break the seal of it. Because after that you can do it with your fingers. Break the seal. Break the seal. And then we just unscrew these. Now those two extra pieces, I would just put in your instruction page, tape them in there, save them in case you accidentally lose one of these. And now we take our small piece, because the screw-on bit here doesn't actually work for this lid. That would have been a cool step. This isn't your typical, it may be acrylic, but it seems really strong. That moves out of the way. And now we take a long one here, and there's our small one. Hold on. We hold this, take this bad boy out, put that back in. There we go. We got two in there, and we give it a crank. See how lack of tools actually makes this one a little bit more compelling. And there's a nice reservoir down in there. There's a note too. It says, "You did it. Congratulations. How long did it take you? And how many hints did you need? I would be very happy to hear about your experience. Send me a message on Instagram or email me. Take care when reassembling the puzzle. This needs to be done in the exact reverse order of disassembly, or you'll be missing a tool at the end." Ooh, it's a good thing we have extras. So I'll put that back. I think that I would probably put a better prize in there. Maybe something a little bit more, even more baffling. Like to see, like, what in the hell is this supposed to be? Okay, let's get that lined up. I will say, getting this part right, you want to go backwards and then forwards. I think, no, it's definitely not in the right thread. Okay. There we go. So everything's going to machine real nice. So if something's not lining good, you literally just do it backwards until it pops onto the thread. That's always the best way. So that's in there now. We line this bad boy back up, and as I always do, I normally clean these off as I go. Just moving through the process for you guys. We can hand screw these in. And then about the tightening thing, I'll show you here. You don't want to crack the acrylic, so you want to put it on here and just lightly go until it kind of gives resistance, just the slightest, and then give it a little push. That's it. I didn't even push it till it wants to stop there. And by doing so, I can't grip that and undo it with my fingers. So get it to where it kind of gives resistance, and then give it a little bit of push. Resistance, a little push. There's resistance and a little push. Now they're all on really tight. I probably should have put my finger in and pulled this out after I got the brass in. So to get this one free, all I've got to do now, it's all about tools, baby. I'm going to put that back in, and I think it goes this way. I know it was in there funny when we got it. You're going to screw that back in, right? And we also want it a little tight. We don't want to put too much pressure against this thin bar, though. So how we're going to do that is we're just going to go where that's thumb in. This is a whole lever now. And just kind of give it a press. That way you're not going to just grip it with your fingers. Now we pull out a little bit and just slide this bad boy out, and it's still perfectly, flat. Now this one's going to be a little bit tricky. You want the screw end up. You're going to put that there, and then you're just going to pull and turn. You have to pull in and out and turn. You might lose grip on it. Try to get the bar back in. I dropped the bar as I was turning it. And at some point, it'll stick to your finger. Now you can always push down on it and it won't go all the way in. There's a seam, and then you can re-grip it. This is the hardest part of the puzzle. And there may be a more clever way to kind of guarantee doing this part. But almost every Juno-esque puzzle, like Turtle Trip or something like that, has that like one bit, doesn't it? That one wall that's really tricky to master. And I'd like to know. There we go. You do that until it snaps back in. So now we got two in there. This one here is going to go down for this to go in, but we don't want to put this in yet because we need to put this part. That's what he meant about doing it out of order. You can tighten this by hand to start and get it, nice and flush. Then just stick a bar through the fat part here. Give it a nice little thing there. Now you can't do it with your thumb. Now obviously this part has to go in for this part to happen. So you can put that there. We go back to this little setup again, tall and short. Tighten it up. And then for the final crank, go like this. Give it just like a little flex there, just so you can't do that with your finger. Now we have our final bit here, and it's a lot easier if you don't have to put these extra tools in, because you just put in two of the long ones. You drop your fat boy, and sometimes it falls to the side like that. So this is where these come in handy. Now it's in there. This one's easier. It went down. And now you take this piece, and there is one spot that we didn't use in this demonstration. That's the hole on the bottom. I imagine with good lighting that's so you can also kind of see what's going on the other side of this piece to figure that part out. But just having the wrong size hole is enough for that. Now these parts right here I keep in with my booklet. So this is how I keep my Toolbox SD number 5. And maybe it belonged to Johnny number 5 from Short Circuit. Who knows? So what are my thoughts? I love this puzzle. This is like a Juno SD all day. It's not overbearing in its complexity. There's a really cool trick here with this part hidden in there that logic gets you to. There's a really cool part here with the hidden bit in there that had me stumped for like a day. And then finally I rationalized why doesn't have a stopper here and a part here to kind of stop it. Why would you need two? And they're perpendicular, so it made sense then. This is great. For a person that I've never heard of before coming out here and this is their first product, this is a big step. I mean, this is a big piece of metal. It's brass. I don't know what this black metal is. The aluminum. It's heavy. And like I said, it's a great conversation piece. The solve of it is fun to go through procedurally. It's got a nice bit of steps here to it. A little bit of challenge in there with some parts. And like I said, if you reduce the amount of tools, it actually starts to become challenging. You have to think about where you want things to be and how you use them. And there's probably even a more efficient way to do it than what I did as far as the final bit, because I'm pretty sure I've done the final bit properly. So this is great. It's a shame people think it's simple. It's not. I don't think it's simple at all. Those two steps right here were real challenging, and I am always thankful of SD puzzles that don't have an immediate wall up front. You know, I don't mind having a trick maybe to slide open a gate here to get to this rather than just unscrewing it, but it's a lead. It's saying, hey, start here. For a first outing, for the look of it all, the machining of it all, that look, I got it secondhand, so that's where that got all scratched up. It's just a monolith piece. Like, it'll sit, you have this on your coffee table, no other puzzles, and people are just going to be like looking at it and afraid to ask about it. And then you can show them a really cool sequence of events. You can be like, well, I know how to get it apart, but I don't know what it's really for or what it does. And they're like, you can get it apart? And be like, sure, well, let me show you. And you tear it all down, right? And once this thing's torn down, it's quite a bit of stuff. Even with, if you put it back the way this is with these two, let's say they're extras, you still have 2, 3, 4 pieces in here, and this 5. Oops. 9, 10, 11 inside, 12, this pops out, 13, this pops out, 14, the tool inside, and then 15 when you separate that, and 16th piece is the Allen wrench bit, and that's not including the body. And then you have these two too if you really wanted to count. So there's a lot of stuff. Things come out. There's a lot of tools, thankfully. It's called Toolbox SD, and you even make your own tools with the custom tool piece in there. So I give it 2 thumbs up. If I had to rate this on my normal scale, I would give this like, y'all fucked up sleeping on this one. If you did 89, 90 easily. This is a great first outing by a designer, and I'm glad to have it here. I feel like I lucked out in that matter, and it'll be harder for me to let go of this one than maybe some of these others, even though they have these cool themes and stuff. So check them out again. I'll put the thing up here at the top so you guys know where he's at and what his name is. And thanks for coming out and checking this out. This is the TOOLBOX SD by Mark Van Elteren, and you can find him at MVEKNIVES on Instagram, link in the bio. And this is a very cool SD. I have heard people say that they think it's a little bit high priced, but I mean, this is a brick of metal. It's about 800 euros, I believe, to buy. So if you're going to do shipping and everything else, it's going to be about $1,000 to get one of these, unless you can get one secondhand from somebody. So there you guys go. I'll have some more videos up for you. I got some time to kill, and we'll get some solving done. You guys have a good one. Peace.